now we have our first guest, Ramiro Cavazos, President and CEO of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for joining us today, Ramiro.
It's my honor, Carlos. Thank you for your leadership and your CEO and presidency there for the statewide needs of the Latino community in New Jersey. We are very grateful to you and your organization for all of the hard work you have done over the last few months. So thank you, Carlos, for having me on your show.
My pleasure. So folks in Jersey, we tell them often the numbers, 120,000 Hispanic-owned businesses locally, $20 billion impact. But your numbers are very impressive. Can you tell me some of the numbers as they have been recently reported of the impact, the growth of the Hispanic business community?
Well, it's very clear, Carlos, that Latinos are a big part of the American economy. And we were, next to our Native Americans, the first ethnic group to come here. We're the only ethnic group that's fought in all of the major wars since the American colonial period. So Latinos are 1 out of every 6 people living in America today, over 60 million people, 5 million Latino-owned businesses throughout the country and Puerto Rico. And our economic impact is $2.3 trillion. And we have great Latino chambers like yours. We have more than 250 Latino chambers across the country and Puerto Rico. So we are the economic engine of our nation and of our economy today and in the future.
Ramiro, how do we best shine a light on the positive impact that these Hispanic companies are having to the U.S. economy? I know there's a study that you're very familiar with. There was an article. The premise basically was last recession, 2009, companies are declining, startups are declining. Yet, interestingly enough, Hispanic businesses are doubling, tripling. Can you summarize that article and kind of how it impacts a new recession that we're going to have to dig out in 2020?
Happy to, Carlos. Well, the Hispanic Chamber for New Jersey that you lead statewide is an economic oasis for all of our Latino-owned businesses. You set the tone for them with access to capital and contracts and resources, and you build confidence with them. And during the last recession, the worst since the Great Depression of 1929, in 2009, not just in your neck of the woods, as we say in Texas and in the Northeast, but the rest of the country, Latino businesses helped rebuild the economy over the last 10 years. We were 85% of the economic growth, the new businesses created since the recession of 2009 in this country that helped get us to where we were right before the COVID virus. 50% of the growth of those businesses was attributed to small businesses, all of them Latinos, and the other 50% also Latino businesses doing exports and imports. So a big part of the rebuilding of the economy since the recession of 2009, 84% were Latino-owned businesses, but half of those businesses were focused on small business services, essential services, and then the other half were small businesses that were Latino also doing trade, import, and export, Carlos. So very important point, and we will be the rebuilding of this economy again during this economic crisis that we're living through.
Ramiro, I know the United States Hispanic Chamber is a nonpartisan organization. Tell me a little bit about, why is it good business as a corporation in the United States? Why is it good business as an elected official to help Hispanic businesses grow?
Well, it's very important that as Latinos, there are 60 million of us. We're Democrats, we're Republicans, we're rich, poor, we're Asian if you're Filipino, we're Black if we're Brazilian or Dominican or Puerto Rican or other groups, and we're white if you're Spanish or have blonde hair and blue eyes. So we are an ethnic group. We are not a race. And the point that you're making is so important about our community is that the resiliency is tied to our confidence. It's tied to the growth of our future in this economy. And for us, it's very clear that we don't care what party you're affiliated with. We love to say we're not red or blue. We're red, white, and blue. We stand for patriotism. We love this country. We were here and helped build it, and we'll continue to rebuild it. Our favorite color is green, and it's the color of money. And we want to put it in the pockets of all Latinos in America. And that's why your chamber exists, and our chamber works hard to partner with you.
Tell me, Ramiro, a little bit about your family history. I know I've heard you speak, and I can't recall how many generations your family has been in Texas, and some parts may not even been Texas when they originally were there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, thank you. Well, I'm a seventh generation Texan. I was born in Texas, in McAllen, Texas, raised in Deep South Texas, 10 miles from the Mexican border. We have relatives on both sides of the border, Monterrey and Mexico, and obviously on the US side. Our family came from Spain in the late 1600s and received one of the original Spanish land grants in South Texas that today is the King Ranch. My great, 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 great grandfather, Jose Narciso Cavazos, received a Spanish land grant that was over 500,000 acres, which is larger than the state of Rhode Island. Over the years, our family, of course, in those days, they would have 10, 12 kids, and many of them sold their piece of their assets and the land. Many of we grew up ranching and farming in South Texas. If somebody asks me what I am, I say I'm a Tejano, but or I'll say I'm a Mexicano, just because we grew up speaking English and Spanish along the Mexican border, and we're 300 years away from the boat that left Sevilla down the Guadalquivir River to go to the New World. And so for us, we're Americans, and as Hispanics, we're proud of our culture, and we feel that that culture is a big part of the economic success of our country. And so I'm proud of my family, but I also need to be honest with you, Carlos. I feel like an immigrant every day, as if I am a first generation Latino. And we should never forget our roots, but we should never forget that the fight continues to provide economic equity to all Latinos in this country, regardless of how long they've been here or where they grew up or whether they speak English or Spanish or another language.
Ramiro, thank you so much. Beautiful story of your family, and keep leading. We love what you're doing, and we all follow your lead. So thank you, and God bless. Ramiro Cavazos, United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce President and CEO.